At a large family dinner, everyone raised their glasses. Emma's mother smiled with pride and said, "Tonight, we celebrate the daughter who saved your father's life. Emily is our family's true hero." The room filled with applause. Emma stayed silent. Only one person in that room knew the truth. Emily had never donated anything. Emma had given her father a kidney. She had promised never to tell anyone. But someone at that table already knew the secret and was about to change everything. The morning after the family dinner, Emma could not stop thinking about her mother's speech. Every word still hurt. Her sister Emily had smiled, accepted every compliment, and thanked everyone as if she had truly saved their father. Emma said nothing. She went to work like every other day, trying to forget the night. Around noon, her phone rang. It was the hospital. The transplant coordinator politely asked if Emma could come in for a short meeting. They said it was about her confidential donor file. Emma felt nervous. She had not spoken to anyone at the hospital since her father's surgery nearly 2 years earlier. That afternoon, she arrived at the hospital. The coordinator welcomed her into a private office. "There's been a request for information about your donation," she explained. "We did not share your identity, but someone has been asking questions that only the real donor could answer." Emma was shocked. Who was trying to find the truth now? Before leaving, the coordinator handed her a sealed envelope. "Keep this," she said. "It contains the official record of your donation. You may never need it, but if someone ever questions the truth, this document will protect you." Emma carefully placed the envelope in her bag. She still had no plan to expose anyone. She only wanted peace. But when she reached her car, her phone buzzed again. It was a message from her cousin. Attached was a photo. Emily was standing on a stage at a local charity event, smiling proudly beneath a large banner that read, "Our community hero, the daughter who gave her father a kidney." Emma stared at the screen. Then, another message arrived from an unknown number. "If you tell anyone the truth, your whole family will suffer." Emma read the message 3 times. She looked around the parking lot, but there was no one watching her. The unknown number had no name. She did not reply. Instead, she drove home in silence, wondering who wanted to keep the secret alive. The next morning, her phone was full of notifications. Friends, old classmates, and distant relatives were sharing photos of Emily. Every post called Emily a hero. One local newspaper even printed her picture with the headline, "Loving daughter saves father's life." Emma quietly closed the article. She knew every word was false. That evening, her mother invited the whole family to dinner again. Emma almost stayed home, but her father called and asked her to come. When she arrived, she noticed a television crew setting up cameras in the living room. A reporter smiled at Emily. "We're here to record your inspiring story," he said. Emma froze. The lie was no longer staying inside the family. It was becoming public. Emily spoke with confidence. She described hospital visits that never happened. She even showed a fake scar on her side, claiming it came from the surgery. Everyone believed her. Everyone except Emma. Across the room, her father watched quietly. For the first time, something seemed different. His smile slowly disappeared. He looked at Emily's scar for a long moment. Then he frowned. During his own recovery, the doctors had explained exactly where the donor's surgery would leave a mark. Emily's scar was in the wrong place. He said nothing, but a small seed of doubt had finally entered his mind. As Emma prepared to leave, the reporter stopped her. "Before you go," he asked politely, "what does it feel like to have such a brave sister?" Emma looked at Emily. Emily looked back with nervous eyes. Emma smiled gently and answered, "Sometimes the truth needs a little more time." The room became completely silent. Emma's quiet answer stayed in everyone's mind. The reporter noticed the sudden silence, but quickly ended the interview. Emily forced a smile, yet her hands were shaking. Later that night, she knocked on Emma's apartment door. She was not smiling anymore. "I know you don't believe me," Emily whispered. "But please, don't ruin everything." Emma looked at her calmly. "I never wanted your attention," she said. "I only wanted Dad to live." Emily lowered her eyes. For a moment, it seemed she might confess. Instead, she turned around and walked away without another word. 3 days later, the family gathered again. This time, it was for their father's birthday. Friends, neighbors, and relatives filled the house. Emma almost stayed home, but her father personally asked her to come. Halfway through the celebration, the doorbell rang. A woman carrying a small folder stepped inside. She introduced herself as the transplant coordinator from the hospital. The room became quiet. She smiled warmly at Dad. "I came because I received your request," she said. "You wanted to personally thank the donor who saved your life." Dad nodded. "I've waited 2 years for this moment." Emily's face lost all color. She slowly stepped backward. The coordinator looked around the room. Then she walked past Emily. "Past Mom." She stopped in front of Emma. With tears in her eyes, she said softly, "Thank you for your incredible gift. Without your kidney, your father would not be here today." No one moved. No one spoke. Dad stared at Emma, as if the world had stopped turning. His hands began to tremble. Mom looked at Emily, waiting for an explanation. But Emily could not say a single word. Then Dad quietly asked the question that changed everything. "If Emma saved my life," he looked directly at Emily, "then whose story have I been believing all this time?" No one answered Dad's question. The room felt frozen. Emily looked at the floor, unable to meet anyone's eyes. Mom tried to speak, but the words would not come. The transplant coordinator quietly placed a sealed folder on the table. "These are the official records," she said. Emma completed every medical test, signed every form, and donated her kidney. There has never been another donor. Dad opened the folder with shaking hands. Each page confirmed the same truth. Every signature belonged to Emma. Every date matched the day she had disappeared from work, telling everyone she was traveling. He remembered those days clearly. He had never asked where she had gone. He simply believed the excuse. Now he realized she had been recovering from surgery, while everyone praised someone else. Dad slowly walked toward Emma. His eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I thanked the wrong person for 2 years." Emma smiled gently. "You don't have to thank me," she replied. "I only wanted you to have another chance to live." Across the room, every guest looked at Emily. Some shook their heads. Others quietly picked up their coats and left. No one wanted to celebrate anymore. The birthday party ended in complete silence. The next morning, the newspaper that had called Emily a hero published a correction. The truth spread faster than the lie. Friends stopped calling Emily. The charity removed her award. People who once admired her began asking difficult questions. Mom sat alone at the kitchen table, staring at the family photos on the wall. For the first time, she saw what she had refused to see for years. She had always believed the louder daughter. She had never truly looked at the quieter one. That evening, she picked up her phone and dialed Emma's number. When Emma answered, Mom's voice broke. "There is something I should have said a long time ago." Emma listened quietly as her mother struggled to speak. For several seconds, neither of them said a word. Finally, Mom whispered, "I'm sorry." The apology sounded real, but Emma knew that one sentence could not erase years of hurt. "I spent so much time believing the louder voice," Mom admitted. "I never stopped to see who was quietly giving everything." Emma closed her eyes for a moment. She had imagined this conversation many times. She thought it would make her feel happy. Instead, it only made her feel peaceful. "You can't change the past," Emma said softly, "but you can choose what kind of family we become from today." A week later, Dad asked Emma to meet him at the small park where he had taught her to ride a bicycle as a child. He carried a simple wooden box. Inside were old family photographs. He gently removed the picture hanging in the center. Then he placed a new one beside it. It showed Emma smiling during her recovery, a photo no one had ever seen before. "This belongs here," Dad said. "Not because you saved my life, but because you never asked for anything in return." Months passed. Emily moved away to begin a quieter life. She finally admitted that she had enjoyed the attention and allowed one lie to become many. She understood that every choice had consequences. Emma also moved forward. She began volunteering at a local support group for organ donors and transplant families, helping people who expected nothing in return. She never spoke about revenge. She never needed to. The truth had already done what anger never could. As she left the support center one evening, Emma looked up at the sunset and smiled. She had not won because someone else lost. She had won because kindness Patience and truth had finally been seen. Sometimes the strongest revenge is simply letting the truth arrive in its own time.